everybody, welcome to my channel. I finally got my bargain bead box for this month. It's called Glacial Glimmer Collection, and when I say finally got it, you don't know how much I mean that when I say, because literally my box shipped over 2 weeks ago and I just got it an hour ago. I even contacted customer service at Bargain Bead Box and they did some troubleshooting and it was not on their side. We are just having issues with our mail service, and apparently it was just sitting at the post office for the last 2 weeks and they literally couldn't get it on the truck and get it to my house. And this just keeps happening to me. So by now, most of you have received your box if you get it. If you've just been looking at the videos for designs, I'm sure you've seen quite a few, because it feels like I'm the last girl on the planet to have received her box. If you can't tell, I'm a little frustrated because I love this box. This month it had 19 items in it. It has a retail value of $85.81, but it's just a little over $20 a month. I always say I don't know how jewelry people can live without this box. But since I've had this issue again, I am not going to do a normal unboxing. I'll pop up a video to give you a close-up of the beads for those of you that may not have seen it. So I put the whole collection here on my mat, and it is just packed with a whole bunch of silver connectors. I love these little stardust spacer beads. There are several different crystal beads in here. These English cut ones are absolutely amazing. And there's favorites in here, and I kind of gathered them here. And I've already designed several projects. I don't know if I will fit them all in this video, probably not, but I'm thinking I'm going to do at least 2 projects in this video. I'm just going to show you my favorites. I love these 3mm faceted aquamarine beads. That's going to go into one project. And then I am drooling over this strand, blue lace agate faceted cylinder beads. Oh my goodness, that's gorgeous. I wish I could have like a strand 1,000 beads long. And then I am going to do at least 2 projects with these gorgeous blue lace agate chip beads. I love gemstone beads. They feel so good against your hand, but these are just particularly, it's the color. The color is just so soft and so lovely, and I apologize for my voice because I have been sick and my voice is still giving me trouble. I'm also crazy about this crystal bead. Have you ever seen anything sparkle like that? I mean, it just takes my breath away. This is a faceted round bead, and the colorway is called Alexandrite AB. It is just absolutely gorgeous. This will definitely be working its way into my designs, and this has inspired this little pop of lavender or alexandrite in with the blue lace agate and these pale blues and these crystal colors. Has really inspired a whole color story for me. The other thing that I love in this box is this little blue lace agate and brass point. This is just so sweet, and I have to tell you, my designs are feeling minimalist and maybe even with some contemporary lines and some connecting interest. And I'm just going to show you really quickly before I clean up my mat what I do. Some of you have been around my channel. I keep these project trays. I have a whole stack of them, all in different colors. And when I get a bead box or when I start to design a project, I will take an empty project tray, go into my stash, and pull additional things just to have options and things to try and work with for bead patterns. So in my seed bead stash, I have some beautiful purple demi rounds with an AB. They look great with that. I have those demi rounds in gold. I have some gold and silver seed beads. I have these beautiful gold lined white, so they are kind of part of this glacier look for me. I had these beautiful little like lavender beads that are softer lavender, a couple of other silver, some galvanized silver cubes, even a few things from the Beadbox Bargains website, some check glass silver wavy disc spacers, and then some e-coated brass pieces from my stash. So I don't know what will be used that I have gone shopping, but it is just something that I always do, and I think it really helps me to come up with really innovative designs, to already have my supplies pulled and ready to create. So I am going to clean up my mat and just put the things out that I'm going to be making, and I'll see how my time goes and see how many projects I'm going to make in this video, and the video not be too terribly long. If you are not familiar with Bargain Bead Box, it is a monthly subscription box. They have a sister website called Bead Box Bargains. You can shop the website whether you are a subscriber or not, but subscribers get a coupon code on the back of their monthly insert with the ingredients of all the beads and findings for 30% off. And you can use it over and over again as many times as you want to on the website. It is a fabulous deal. It is one of the best resources for jewelry makers out there. And I've been getting this box for years, maybe even since it started, way before I had a YouTube channel, because it's just so good. It's curated beautifully every month and just really high quality things. I just love it. I can't say enough good things about it. So I tried to give you a little close up with a video because this is not my normal unboxing, but I'm really excited to start designing. So just be a second for you. I'm going to clean up and I'll be right back. Okay. I have designed 3 pairs of earrings and 2 necklaces in this video, and I've done most of the stringing before I started recording again because these beads are so small and it was very tedious. Even on this part here, I used these brass. They're solid brass, but they're hollow inside and they're teeny tiny 2 millimeter, and they were really difficult to string. I normally love stringing, but this was not really fun, and so I got it done. The other side is done. I'll talk to you about the pattern, but this is going to be a little minimalist bow necklace, and I'm using my Soft Flex gold wire in the 24 gauge. You can also do this on like with needle and thread, but let me just back this down a little bit. And as I said, the beads are like really small. I have literally used all of these little gemstone beads, and I dotted all of my work with these O beads that I picked up at a bead shop, but I'll link in the description box my favorite source for seed beads and O beads or demi rounds. But you could also just use regular seed beads to extend your length or add in a color. But I was so inspired by the purple in with the pale blues, and it's just beautiful. And you'll see as we go through that I'm mixing gold and silver. The silver is really beautiful with this color palette, and I love it. But I really like the trend of mixing the gold and silver, and I wear more gold. So in all of my pieces that I'm going to make in this collection, I'm going to mix the 2 metals. So what I've used from my stash is a little gold-filled spacer bead that has a really large hole. So if you want to do this, you just need to find a center bead that has a large enough hole that your fine gauge wire can go through it 3 times. 3 times 2, 1, 2, yes, 3 times. I was thinking it was at 4. So I have just made a little pattern for my bow and looped it through, and I've just bent this wire down just to hold this loop in place. And then I just did the same little pattern of beads on this side, and I'm just going to make a pretty little loop and fit it back through my center bead. And like I say, just find a bead that will accommodate the wire. There has to be 3 wires. Can you see? There has to be 3 wires that will fit in there. And I don't want to mangle my loops here. I love doing a bow necklace with fine gauge wire because then you can kind of shape the loops of your bow and make it just the way that you want it. So I'm just gonna coax it through. This is the 3rd wire, so it's a little bit full inside that bead, but I'm gonna just be patient and just get it in there. And now I'm gonna just pull it tight and bend this wire down to make my ribbons. And when I'm all done, my chain is going to attach to my bow loops, but for now I'm just going to leave them as they are, and I'll come back and kind of make them the way that I want them. And then I am going to thread on. I've separated out my beads here. I'm going to thread on the same amount of these microfaceted little gemstone beads on each wire for my ribbons that hang down from the bow. And I think I'm going to dot the stringing with a couple more of these little purple O beads. They're so pretty. So I'm going to do, this is why I did the stringing off camera, because this is what it is, guys. It is what it is. One tiny little bead at a time. And so, you know, it's beautiful, but a little bit, you know, well, it would be like watching grass grow to sit and watch me do every single one of these beads, but it can be a little tedious too. So I'm going to string this one and show you how I'm going to finish this off, and then I'll do the other one off camera and come back so you won't fall asleep. But this box is so inspiring. I love the colors in this box. Okay. They are all strung. I just dotted my gemstones with those O beads, and now I am going to make a very small wire wrapped loop right here. So just get a hold of my wire right at the end of my bead stack, give it a 90-degree bend, and I'm going to put my round nose pliers in there down near the tip so that this loop is really small, and I'm going to wrap it and get my loop centered. But before I close that loop, I'm going to open it. Before I wrap it closed, I'm going to open it, and I made two little tiny dangles with a ball head pin and another really tiny wire wrapped loop. Let me put it down and put my finger behind it. And I just put some of my little O beads in between the chip beads, and that's going to be my little tiny dangling drop on the bottom of my bow ribbon. So I just slide it on just like that, and now we'll close that loop back again and wrap it closed. Get this one out of my way and just wrap down to my beads, and this is going to hold all of my other beads all the way up in their secured position. And trim off. And make sure it is, that little fine wire is tucked in. And like I said, when I'm finished, I will play with, you know, how it hangs. But I'm going to repeat that exact same thing on this side. Let me get my nylon jaw pliers and just smooth this out a little bit, since of all the tugging and pulling that I did to get it into a loop. I just want to start with a nice straight wire, and I'm going to repeat the exact same thing on this side of my bow. Okay, I'm just shaping my little bow so that I like the shape of the ribbons, and that's one of the reasons I love doing these on wire because you can really make it look however you want. And so that little guy is now ready to attach to the chain. So what I did here, I didn't have very much of this beautiful solid brass chain that is plated and e-coated for anti-tarnish. So I completed the length that I need with a little bead stringing pattern that is really simple, just 3 O beads, 3 brass beads, 3 O beads all the way through. And I literally have used everything but one of these gemstone beads. So there's like 2 little stations in the bead pattern that you know, just to kind of bring this color up there. And I have done the second side and I left it on my spool. This is one of my favorite bead stringing wires. This is the champagne color of the Extreme Flex. It is only a 19 strand bead stringing wire, so it's really fine and really flexible, almost like thread. This is a Soft Flex product that is out of stock right now because the production of this is really, they say is like it's really takes a long time to make this. But I just checked because I only have this little bit left on my spool, and they expect to have this back in stock in January. So I know I will be getting some more of this. So I am just going to repeat what I did over here. Just take a number 2 crimp tube. Again, I love the Soft Flex ones because they are gold filled and they don't tarnish and they work beautifully with the magical crimping plier. And you know, for such fine work and for such fine chain where it won't, I don't want my transition to be noticeable, this champagne gold is absolute perfection. So I'm just going to get a little loop in here, really small. Again, just keeping in mind the scale of my chain and my bow and my bead stringing pattern. I want this loop to be really, really small. And I'm just going to crimp it with my magical crimping plier. And what I love about it is that, you know, it's going to look, you'll see, I'll pull it up close to the camera, but once this tube is crimped into a bead, it looks exactly like one of my little brass beads. Just like that. And definitely the cut or the tail of the wire does definitely not fit back through those tiny little beads. So I just want to get in here as close as I can to trim it. That's good. And I'll just, you know, I'll show you how, I mean, I'm going to pull my pattern down, but look at that. It's so beautiful. It's so like that number 2 crimp tube looks exactly like one of those beads. So I'm just going to now cut this off my spool and repeat the same exact thing on this end, and then we can attach. Okay, I already attached this side. I made with my Soft Flex 20 gauge wire some teeny tiny little 3mm jump rings. I don't even know if my little jump ring tool is going to really work for these, but I am going to try. I'm going to attach my strung section to my, yeah, they're very small. Attach my strung section to my chain section. And I want to do this so that my gemstones in my pattern are down toward, I can't hold on to this today, so that they are down toward the bow. So just get my little loop that I made on the jump ring, and it is so fine. So I need to make sure, as always, that it's closed really well, but especially when something is so tiny, because it can slip out more easily than you might think. Okay, so my 2 strands are done, and I think that I am going to switch to a gold filled, let me reach behind me. Okay, I'm going to switch to a gold-filled jump ring. This is a 6mm, and just to attach my chain to my bow. So this is going to go in my bow loop. So I just have to find the spot that I wanted, and didn't open it far enough. And you can really attach these any way. I mean, you could even attach both, in fact, let me just try it. You could attach it like offset like that and put your chain through that so that the bow hangs that way, but that wasn't my intention. I think I'm going to come down a little bit, like maybe right about there, and add one side of my chain in. That's so beautiful. It's so sweet. Going into 2025, dressmaker details, couture details are going to show up in jewelry design. Things like bows, things like lacing, like corseting, that kind of thing. What I have seen is absolutely stunning. And, you know, bows really never go out of style. They're kind of like pearls. And stylists will say people either love them or hate them. But I think you're going to see a lot of bows in jewelry design in the coming year. And for me, I love them. I think they're sweet, and I just love them. And I love it for like a minimalist piece, but, you know, interesting. And so I just love this. Look at that. It's so beautiful. And then I have my little strung section, and I did this a little bit shorter necklace. It's about 18 inches. And then we did get clasps in the box, but I just got these really cool magnetic clasps that there's a ring that fits inside, so when you pull it, they don't pull apart, like they really grab on. And I think I am just going to disconnect the lobster claw and open ring end that came on them and just attach this little clasp right to the back of my necklace. Just going to take this little lobster claw off and put this little magnetic clasp. I love jewelry that's easy to take on and off. That is the prettiest little clasp. I just love it. And actually, let me show you my little package. I can link these below. I literally got them in the mail yesterday, but they came with gold and silver, and you actually get double clasps because if you're not using the lobster claw and open end, that's another clasp for another piece of jewelry that's non-magnetic. And so I just love that. It was a really good find. I'll link them in the description box. And then this will be super easy to put on and off. And my little bow necklace is done. Let me straighten out this little area here. Isn't that so pretty? I just love it. I'll put some better pictures up at the end, but I just think that is the sweetest little necklace. So I'm going to jump into my next necklace. This is a length of 20 gauge wire. This is going to be a minimalist bar necklace using the chip beads, and on this one I think I am going to mix gold and silver. So I'm going to start with a super neat, super small wire wrapped loop here, and I'm going to put my pliers down near the end. Maybe not super small, maybe not quite as small as what I did on the other necklace. And for me, when I have a whole video, it's an older video, like from a year ago, but when I do these bar necklaces, for me, I like my loops and my wraps to be super neat because it is kind of a minimalist style of jewelry. So I'm using the gold wire, and I've cut my chain that was in the box. I have cut it into two even lengths, because I want I want to use these on two other necklaces. But I'm going to go ahead and loop that chain directly into the end of my wrapped loop that I'm making, and close it and wrap it. You could do it with jump rings if you wanted to, but I'm going to just go for it today. And I'm just going to wrap this loop really neatly. And because it's a bar and this is the focal of the necklace, I want to try to get the same number of wraps on the other end. And I also just, you know, like put my pliers in there, make sure that all my loops are coiled really close to each other. Looks like I can go another half a turn. And trim, and just, you know, take a second to make my loop really neat. I'm making a mess with my little stack of O beads here. Okay, and since I am going to mix gold and silver, I have the some gold O beads out here too, but I am going to start, since it's gold wire, let's see, I'm going to play with these stardust silver beads that were in the box, and I'm going to do a little stack, a little bar of chip beads. And I'm going to play with dotting the chips with the gold and the silver and the purple. So that's the pattern. I just love it. I love the gold, silver, gold, and then I just did 3 chip beads and separated them alternatively with the beautiful purple and gold. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side. I want my loop to be going in the same exact direction as the other side. So I'm going to get a hold of my wire. This loop is going perpendicular to my mat, so I'm going to bend this wire in the same direction and place my pliers in the same spot and just do a super neat wrapped loop here. And before I close it, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on this side. I'm going to open it and add my chain in. Let's give myself a little space and add the other end of my chain. And what I'll do is, once I have this wrapped, because now you can't get it over your head, I'll find the middle, cut my chain, and put a clasp on the end. And this little minimalist gemstone and, you know, sparkly bar necklace will be done. It's a super easy, it's one of my favorite necklace designs. As I said, I've done a video, it's been probably a year, but I have done a video on a few different ways to create these. They don't take a lot of beads. They make a beautiful statement. They're really fun to make. This is stainless steel chain, so I am using my older cutters. And so one thing I like to do when I make a bar necklace to change it up is sometimes come to one end and just put a little dangle, and this little point charm would be absolutely perfect for that. I wish I had another one because I want to save this for another necklace project. I want to make a pendant out of that, but maybe could take one of my blue lace agate beads and make a funky little drop that hangs there. Or do I want to do it with one of the, oh, that's pretty because I have a little purple in there. Okay, decision made. I am going to take a, let's see, I will do a gold head pin since I'm alternating gold and silver. Oh, that's cool. That bead fits perfectly in there. That's so pretty. And then let's see, maybe a silver bead cap. Two gold O beads, and I think I'll do maybe a couple more chips, or maybe one funky chip, like a little stick chip. Oh, that's pretty. Let's see. Beautiful. I love it. Okay, I'm going to take my smallest one-step looper and just put a simple loop in this head pin. Pull that stack of beads away from the jaw of the plier, and I am also going to hang this with a jump ring, so I want to close that loop really well, work hard in it, straighten everything, and I'm going to hang it with a silver jump ring. This one will work. I actually want to add this over my wraps on this end, just to make it like an extension of my lineup of beads. There, I got it over. And put my charm and close. Perfection. Oh, this is so pretty. It's a little minimalist bar necklace with a charm, with a little dangle. I love it. It's gorgeous. So excited. I am so excited for these. Okay, let me clean up a little bit, and I have 3 pairs of earrings to make with you guys. Here, so I can look at them while I'm working on my other things. Oh, they're so pretty. I love the way they turned out. Okay. The first pair of earrings is a really simple stack using the blue lace agate column beads and a 2.5 inch ball head pin that is solid brass and e-coated for anti-tarnish, and all the little findings I just pulled from my stash, and they are the same. So solid brass. So it is a simple stack of a ball head pin, a little bead cap, one of those gemstone column beads, 2 disc spacers, one of the faceted rounds, another tinier, a smaller disc spacer, and one of those beautiful agate beads. And I did sort of sort through my agate beads because there's a lot of variation in the color, and just kind of find 2 that coordinated. And this is my specialty. I love to do earrings this way. I'm going to get a hold of that head pin, and this is a 360-degree bead design, so no matter which way they turn, it looks the same. So it doesn't so much matter about it facing forward, but I am going to put my pliers just a tiny bit above this top bead and give this a bend toward me, just about 45 degrees. And what that does is keeps that bead from coming off. And then the plier that I like to use for making these earrings is this one. I always link it below. And I'm going to put it in so that I am making my ear hook on the smallest barrel of the plier. And, you know, just so that the ear wire isn't crooked or twisted, just take a second to line it up. So let me turn it this way so you can see. I have it so that the bead is really right in there, right touching the barrel, and simply bend this over that smaller barrel. I just found that sits in my piercing really well, and essentially that ear wire is done. This is one of my very favorite earring techniques. So that is a little bit too long for my liking, so I'm just going to match these up. And or you know what, sometimes if the beads are in your way, an easier way is to, I'm going to take about that much off, and then I'm going to hold on to what I removed as my measurement for my second earring, so that way I know that both my earrings are identical. Okay, and I'm just going to, I'm cutting left-handed. That's not usually good. I'm very right-handed. I'm right-hand dominant. Got it. So that's just a little trick for getting both of your ear wires the same. And then I just take a flat nose plier and get a hold of it right at the end and kick that out. And I'll do the same thing on this one. And then you can use a battery operated reamer. You can use like a metal buffing block. I always link this little set of file and reamers. There's 7 or 8 in the set. You can use this file, but I love my battery operated reamer. And so here's the little attachment. You can put a reamer attachment in it, but I have this little cup attachment in mine right now. That's mostly what I use it for. And just push that into place. And then this little end, I know it's probably difficult to see, but it has like a little cup, and you fit your wire in that little cup and press the button, and it's a wire rounder. So that takes the sharpness. You can check it. You can go back and do more if you need to, but I love this little tool. If you're reaming a bead, like a hole is blocked, you're supposed to do it underwater, so it can be used for that as well. Perfect. Okay, and then, you know, to these, when you try them on, you can always make adjustments to your loop. You can even put your bail plier back in if you need to, like pull it down a little bit, and you can pull this out a little bit just to make it so that it sits just right in your piercing. So I usually will go back and zhuzh them a little bit after I make them. Just adjust the loop a little bit with my plier. But I love making earrings this way. They're contemporary. They're, you know, this is like just a beautiful drop, and they'll be able to be worn with any of my necklace designs. Love those. Okay, next up is a super simple pair of earrings. These are just a simple stack. Again, the 2.5-inch ball head pin and a stack of components. So I'll show you what I used on this. This is also a solid brass bar component that is e-coated for anti-tarnish, and I just added in the same little O beads, the same elements, the stardust bead, everything that I've been doing on everything else. And again, so that when I'm finished making all the pieces from this box, it will be like a jewelry suite. And I used my smallest one-step looper again to make my loop at the top, and just put that loop in there, bend that away to complete the loop, make sure everything's straight. And I'm going to close this really well, and I am not going to put ear wires on this pair of earrings because these are made for my gold-filled interchangeable lever back ear wires. So if you have not seen these, they look like this. These are gold-filled. They have a little notch in here that your drops can rest in. So you just thread it on, let it go down into that little notch, and it's a lever back, and I love these. I have several sets in my jewelry wardrobe, and I've given them to my friends, and that way I can continue to make drops as my bead boxes get in. I know that's not a great camera angle, but I can make these beautiful drops and just add them in and change them out, and I love them. It's one of my favorite, another one of my favorite ways to do earrings. Isn't that pretty? So beautiful. And then my last pair is equally as stunning. I used a little scrap, literally 3 links of the chain from the bow necklace, and just did a little bead stack on 20 gauge wire, another little bead stack with the chips and a ball head pin, and I just let them dangle. just put that little chain between the 2 sections for another little dangle. So again, I did sort through the chips. Like when I'm doing chip design for an earring, I sorted through my chips to kind of come up with 2 stacks that are similar since they are earrings. And again, I just spaced them out with my O beads, and I'm going to do the same exact thing. This is another one of those brass head pins, and I'm just going to put this on my simple looper and put a loop in there. Make sure I'm not stressing my beads, and just come back and make sure the loop is, well, don't want to make sure it's closed yet because I'm going to go ahead and add it. That's how much of my chain I had left over. Go ahead and add the chain on, and then close it really well. Work hard in it. And now I just want 1, 2, 3 links, cut the 4th one. And for the next component, I did exactly the same thing, just a teeny little scrap of wire. And I'm going to put this in just past the back jaw of the tool. Since there's no beads, it makes that fresh blunt cut, so it can skip that step with my cutters. And I just want to make sure that I have a nice straight component. So I use the tool to hang on to it while I do that. And I have my first simple loop in there. And then I'm going to repeat the same little stack that I did at the top of this earring, which is 2 O beads in that beautiful lilac purple color, and 1 of these tiny little brass disc spacers, 1 of the gorgeous agate beads. And I did the same thing on this one, where I kind of went through and sorted through my agate beads to find 2 that were pretty similar, just so I didn't have like a dark blue agate on this and a light one, and it not look cohesive. And then 2 little O beads, and repeat the same exact thing again. Put a simple loop in the top of this. I always hold on to it and close it gently on this side, so that I can see if I need to back this away a little bit, so that I'm not so tight with my beads up to the jaw of the plier or of the tool. And I just go slowly, let it make that fresh blunt cut, and then I am maintaining control and slowly closing it here. And I just want to make sure that my little O beads are not getting stuck in that, and I pull this down as I close. And what that does is I can see that the loop I just made is centered on my stack of beads, and if anything became misaligned while it's still in the tool, you can use your pliers to straighten that out. But I'm going to go ahead and open this loop and add my chain to that loop and close that one really well. And I'll come to this side, and I'm adding this one on to gold filled little ear wires. But at that point, with this pretty little stack, you could really add it to any ear wire that you wanted to. So 3 stunning, simple, and fast pair of earrings. This box is so inspiring. I love the colors in this box. I absolutely was inspired by the accent color of this beautiful lilac. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And so I will put some pictures of these projects up at the end of the video. I am sorry about the expedited unboxing for those of you that enjoy the unboxings, but as I explained, I've been frustrated with the mail service and what's been going on in my area with that. It's, you know, affecting my work. But I will be back with more projects with this box. I'll give you a sneak peek. I have already started playing with a necklace design. I'm not sure how I'm going to connect this, but that's a little sneak peek of what I am working on with the beads. And I have another necklace design. Maybe it's going to end up being a pendant instead of a necklace with that beautiful point bead. I just love this. When the box extras become available, I think I will be getting more of those. And I also want to do a necklace with these beads here. I have 5 left over, so I'm going to be doing a necklace with those. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, now would be a great time to do it and tap the bell notification so you don't miss the continuation of this. And also, if you're not subscribed to the Bargain Bead Box, I have a discount code that will be in the description box underneath this video, as well as all my favorite tools, and I can link the magnetic clasps that I used in the 2 necklaces and anything else that I've used that I think you might want for your work. The links are there in my description box. So I thank you so much for watching. I hope everybody's safe and well and having fun on your beading mats. Ciao, creative friends.